guys, and welcome back to my channel, Flamingo Homeschool. I'm Angela, and today we're going to be talking about what to do when you have one of those days. Most homeschool moms will know what I'm talking about. One of those days where everything seems like it is going wrong. You can't get the rhythm down. There's maybe frustrations or attitudes or anger, or they just don't want to do anything that day. Sometimes that happens. And what you can do to kind of salvage the day and make the best of it. So I do not have everything together, disclaimer. We do have these days sometimes, and sometimes they're salvageable and sometimes they are not. This is my opinion, and this is things that have helped me. So all I want to do is encourage and help other homeschool moms. So I hope that will do that for you. Just so you know, this is from my perspective. So I am a follower of Christ, and so if you don't want to listen to any of that, you're more than welcome to head out, but I wish you would stay around, okay? So my number one thing that I would say to do is to stop what you're doing, give your kids a break, set a timer. So we have our little timer that kind of, you know, it just shows the time on it, like how many minutes you have or whatever, and it just shows how long it's going down. And then it just kind of does that, so they know when they hear that they come back in the room and we're gonna start again, or whatever I've set the timer for. But that's the one we use. So I set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes. I tell them to go play, and then I usually go somewhere by myself, and I will just kind of talk to God and just try to get myself back to, why am I doing this? Lord, help me, because I don't know another way to teach this, or I'm getting frustrated with them, or they're getting frustrated with me. Help everybody's attitudes to calm down. Just whatever I need help with in that situation. That is the number one thing I can tell you that helps me, is to ask God for help. So that is my number one thing that I would recommend doing. Okay. So number two, I would say to kind of, if it's has to do with the subject you're on, then maybe close the book on that subject. It could be for an hour, it can be for 5 hours, it can be for the day, you know, whatever. But just close the book on that subject. If you are at a point where your kid is really frustrated with it and you've tried to teach them it, and everybody's frustrated, especially when they get really frustrated, they're not going to be learning anything from that. So if you continue to force that, then it's kind of pointless and it's a waste of your time and frustration for everybody. So I would just say, you know what, we're going to take a break from this for now. We'll come back to it later. And whether that be in an hour, or, you know, later on in the day, or, you know, after they've had lunch or exercise or something, or whatever, but we'll come back to it. So that would be my number two thing to do. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anything on my page here of my notes. So my next piece of advice would be to stop school and go outside, or stop school and go do something else, like do something with art, or something creative if that's what your kids like to do, or stop school and go make muffins, stop school and blow bubbles outside, whatever, you know, do sidewalk chalk. Take a break and set a time for that, but just take a break and go ahead and do something else, something that everybody loves, or that, you know, you guys all like to do together, and just take a break. So it kind of goes with the other one of closing the book on that subject, but at this point you would be taking an actual break from school altogether. Okay, so another thing that we like to do when we are having trouble concentrating, especially with my son who has sensory processing disorder, he is a sensory seeker, so he is always moving and he likes to move. So sometimes with him, and even my daughter and even myself, we need to get some wiggles out, I guess you could say, or move. And now, and this is also to remind you guys that my kids are young. They're 6 and 7, so they're still young. So if you have older kids, they may be like, what are you talking about? But we like to do what we call a dance party. So we have a couple songs that we put on YouTube or on, you know, my phone or Alexa or whatever. And we just stop what we're doing and we have a dance party. We dance. And they get to shake out their like wiggles and get some exercise for a minute, and it really helps. And then once we're done with those songs, we come back in and we start again. That really helps us a lot, especially like I said with my son. He needs that movement for sure. So that's another thing we like to do. Okay, so the next thing that we like to do is we will take some time and we will get whatever read aloud book we are having. Like if we're all having a really tough time that day, and we just need to kind of have a break from what we're doing, we will take our read aloud book and we will go and we'll get up in my bed and we'll just snuggle up, and I will sit there and I will read them a chapter. We usually take about 10 or 15 minutes to do that, and so it's not a long amount of time, but it's, you know, they might need some mommy time. Like I said, my kids are young and sometimes they just want a hug or want to, you know, which brings me to my next point, which is we do something really silly. It's from Trolls, the Trolls movie. If you guys have ever seen it, my kids love the Trolls movie. And so we do what we call is hug time. And so if somebody's having a meltdown, then I will usually say to them, do you need some hug time? And they will come over and I will give them a hug. And usually whatever child it is, the other child will come over and we'll just do like a little group hug. And like I said, if you have older kids, they may look at you like you're out of your mind. But my kids are young and so they enjoy that. And sometimes they just need a hug from mom. So that is another thing that we do. You guys might think it's cheesy, but I don't care. It works for us, right? You do you, for sure. Okay, so the next thing that I would advise you to do if you're having a rough time is snack time. Now, if your kids are hangry, that might be what's causing the whole thing. Maybe they're just hungry and they're, you know, it's not time for lunch yet or something, and you know that they're just cranky because they're hungry. Let them have a snack for a few minutes, or maybe you're hungry and you didn't get to eat breakfast that morning and you're just starving and it's not lunchtime yet. Have a snack, have a granola bar, have an apple, whatever, but have some kind of a snack for you and for your kids, and that can sometimes just be exactly what you need to get everybody back on track. I know. Simple, but it's so impactful, I promise. If we're really having a day where we're butting heads a lot, sometimes we will put on I'll put on some worship songs that we all really like, and we will just have, sometimes I'll do like kids praise songs that are on YouTube or things like that, songs that they know and that I know. We will just stop and have some worship time where we all just kind of worship together. So that is another thing that we do. And so the last couple are a couple things that we do as sort of as last resorts kind of sometimes, although I really feel like this next one we should do more often sometimes, and that is get a change of scenery. Sometimes just going outside with school will help to refocus everybody and to give a new perspective, or going to the park and, you know, let's get our work done and then we can go play or things like that. Even just going to the library and sitting in the library and doing your reading, having them do their reading to me, that kind of a change can help. So change scenery, and I feel like I don't use that one as much as I should or that I could. So I'm going to try to start using that one more, but that is something that we do occasionally. And the last thing is to call it a day for school. I'm not saying you want to do this every day. If you're doing this every day, if you're like, we cannot get through this, let's call it a day every single day, then you need to look at your curriculum and look at where your kids are and see if that's really working for you. Because if you've watched any of my other videos, you know when we first started, we really struggled with the curriculum that we were using. It was not right for us. And now we have a different curriculum, and it is just as advanced as the one that we were using, but it works so much better for my kids and for me. It's just a blessing to us instead of being a burden to us. So, but it's okay to do it once in a while. Call it a day for school. Just say, you know what, we're going to pick this up tomorrow. We're going to be done for the day, and we're just going to, we're not going to do school anymore today. And that is something that I don't do often, but there are some days that you just they're not gonna learn anything if have just had, if all the other things haven't worked. It's probably best to just say, you know what, we're gonna come back to this tomorrow. So, those are my tips. I hope that this really has helped you. I know that these things have helped us. And like I said, this is just coming from my heart. These are things that have helped our homeschool, that help our homeschool currently. Everybody has days like that. And, even as adults, we have days where we have a bad day. So not everybody's going to have a good day every single day. So don't expect your kids to, do that for sure. And don't expect for you to do that. If you have had a migraine all day and they have been, really fussing about doing work, maybe you should just table it, because honestly, you don't want to do damage to that relationship with your kids either. You don't want to, the most important thing is to have that relationship with your kids and have that relationship be intact, So you definitely don't want to do damage to that relationship for school. There will be another day to do school. There will be another time to do school. And most of the time for us, school is great and we love it, but there are days. So like I said, just, your kids, your homeschool. These are my tips, and I hope that these helped you, and I hope that you will be blessed in your homeschool. And I pray for each and every one of you that you have wonderful, wonderful experience with homeschooling, and that God blesses your homeschool so much. And I really appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.